Hello, welcome back to Pommyinoz. I hope we're all doing really well. If you are new around here, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. If you are a returning Pommyinozer there, g'day to you. It's good to have you back. And what we're doing today is the preview of Geelong versus Carlton. It's a big game for the boys, obviously 2 in a row, and we know what we like as Carlton fans. We win 1, we win 2, and we get very excited, don't we? A lot of us have got the lids well and truly off, and we're looking at finals and all that malarkey. I hate to be a Debbie Downer though. I like to live in the realms of on to the next. And we've got Geelong this week, who are an interesting proposition, to say the least. Geelong, obviously, this year, 11 wins, 4 losses, currently 4th on the ladder, with 123 percentage. A very, very accomplished side, and probably one of the more disciplined sides that you'll see in the AFL. They really have built a game plan based on them playing at home. You can see it. It's very structured. It's very regimented. It likes to attack the corridor. And one thing that's interesting about Geelong as a football team is how they actually move the ball. It is quite unique, really, in the avenues of that. It's almost the same kicks and handballs. Very, very, very structured, very short kicking, very possession based, very slow movement, invariably as well, that they move players. You find that players like the big Cav dog down the back, Mark, and players like that actually roam into the midfield, and that's basically because of how they move the ball. You find them around stoppages and stuff often go backwards to go forwards. They move very systematically in stages, and their defence is literally structured in such a way that it enables an inside 50 to come inside there and be their strength. And you find that players like Colin Jasney, Henderson, what they do when the ball comes in is they just literally block and create space for Tom Stewart. And it's interesting because Tom Stewart kind of is their Liam Jones in a way. Now, I'm not saying that they're linked in the same player, but what he does very efficiently is he peels off his man, and he's very willing to get there. And what he does is he sees it at its highest point, he goes, and often there is a block there to intercept, and they're very, very clever. Now, what we can do here, and if you're really interested in this, there will be a link in the description. I've done a scouting report, which is how I prepare these videos. It's really in-depth. There's some stats there that you won't find anywhere on the planet, and it's very soccer field in how soccer create theirs. So what we've got here is this is every intercept mark that Tom Stewart has taken this year, and you can see he's taken 46 of them, and you can see that they're very spaced out, but you see the majority of them are in the inside 50. And also we know that they like to defend their left side, which is incidentally, if we're going right to left on the screen, it's probably one of their weak avenues, and that's where they often deploy him. And it's quite interesting because most kickings you will see are kicked to your open side. That's your strong side. Most people are right-footed, if you think about it, and they go out right. And that's why you see a lot of them are defensively his left side. And he's very efficient from this because what he does is he's very clever. What he likes to do is take it and he gives it straight off to someone on the offload, looks to get the rebound, then kick the ball on the run. That is something that Tom Stewart does, gives him extra penetration, and he is really good. And what we see as well is from their kickings, you can see what I mean about kicking to his open side, the right-hand side as he's kicking it. See a 68% completion rate there. 55 on his left. Players find it a lot harder to kick across their body, and this is certainly a weakness for him. And what you find with Geelong is they actually set up to these strengths. So they deploy most of their strong marking guys, a couple of them on this weaker side to try and manipulate that. You find more crummers are around the feet on the left-hand side of their wing, as opposed to the right-hand side, because genuinely he's so accurate on there. And you can see the corridor is literally almost precision. Now, how you beat this is really a good question, really. And what Geelong do really well is, like we say, they control the footy, they move up methodically. You are always going to concede possession to Geelong. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. They're a very ball-retentive side. Now, you've got to do one or two avenues, right? One, you appreciate that, which is very hard to do, and you adapt your game plan to give that up and then heavily contest when the ball hits the ground and when the ball hits aerially. The other option, this is the option that I would lean towards, is you don't throw air to caution and you go for it and you actually bring one up, because they effectively play one man up around all the stoppages, and you find that they actually deploy some guy from defence, usually the big cav dog. He will go up there because obviously steeplechase there, he's got a lot of run in him, and he will literally add that extra body in there. You find that that's what they do really well. So what you've got to do is do the similar thing. You go man on man, you body up there in that position, and their aim is to short handball away from trouble, out to the wings, out to Smith, out to Menegola. Dangerfield oscillates around there too. That's what they're doing. You've got to try and take away, first starve that ball, starve that easy handball, make it scrappy. That's what they do when they concede possession. You've got to be equally up to the ball. But then what it is, it's about really getting into 50 in as little kicks as possible. So kind of like what Carlton played in that first quarter. Really controlled and measured, but keep it momentum fast. And then it is being structured down the back, because what Geelong do, and it's kind of like the Barca style of play, they play with you. They wait for the opportunity. They can have the ball all day. They're quite happy to do that, and they're more than skillful enough. They're a very solid side, and they're a very interesting side to actually watch, because it is kind of almost unique into the world of football, if you will. Now let's look at the lines. So we've seen the teams named, and here you are. You can see at the top there, you've got the whole team. So Carlton, 25 years old and 6 months on average, 103.8 games played, 188.5, 86.5 weight, and a skill rating of 59.4. Geelong, on the other hand, their whole team, 27 years old, 6 months, 136 games, 0.1, the more experienced, slightly taller at 189.1, 89.7, they're a bit heavier, as you know, a bit more muscle there, and 64.4. And that's kind of like really the indicative, really, of how they play as a Scots team. They are very strong around the contest, they're a very tough side as well, and they look to scrap very well. Geelong are very acquitted to do that. The teams that do have success with them, as I say, look to play on faster and really take the game on with them. Now, we look at the key defenders. Carlton, they're just slightly, by a landslide, have the edge. 89.4, 66.5 to the key defenders. Now, this is where Carlton are going to have to really do it, because if we go to the key forwards just at the bottom there, you can see that, again, we've also got the number there, because they're going to be playing Ratticlere this year. They've lost Cameron. So Carlton have got a real strength there. That's where the transition is going to come in, because as we say, Geelong like to play a real good, you see most teams kind of play lines and staggered. What Geelong do is it's kind of an inverted line, and it protects their weaker side. So it's very interesting that, because there's going to be a lot of intercepts for Carlton, a lot of opportunity to really transition the ball, and it's how you use it from that situation. Look at the small defenders there, the general defenders, as it were. That's where Geelong's strength is. They've got some exceptional users there. Tom Stewart's one of them as well, real high ranked, and really looks to take the game on. Carlton there, you can see that they suffer probably from having a few younger players in that area, but 59.1, you can see that the games there, you can see there's a bit of a disparity there. Now that is really important for me, because you can see that's where Teague is trying to build. It's where the inexperience comes in sometimes. It's where them risks come in just with the ball in hand at times. There is some skilled users there as well. If you take them out, you've got Saad there, you've got Zach Williams there. It's a very talented general defence line. Then we look at the midfield. Now this is really interesting, because Carlton have got a few players there that obviously are still developing as footballers. Carlton 59.7, 73.2 for Geelong. And what we'll do is we'll just have a quick look at this slide, and this will be their centre clearances this year. This is what we're going to be looking around the contest, and particularly the stoppages as well. This is just the centre clearance for you. And you can see this is how they operate. Now you can see this is how you would expect genuinely that six to look like. Stanley perfect, O'Connor at his feet, Smith, danger outside, and Guthrie kind of that floating rotation role. Offley, Guthrie will go to the wing. Dangerfield will come in there. Menegola floats through there as well, as we can see. Sean Higgins comes through there. And it's interesting, these rotations. These rotations are really heavy, and they all have an ace in their place, if you will. O'Connor will be that stopper. Parfitt generally has got the role that Selwood has. That's a big out for them, because Selwood attends nearly all of their stoppage and centre clearances, and his job is Stanley just taps it down to his feet. It just drops where it is. And what Parfitt does is he's looking to get that out, and you can see that little arrow we've got there. That's often the running lane. Dangerfield, Guthrie, whoever is on that wing, Isaac Smith as well if they do it on the other side. They're looking for that runner to hit, get the ball out and really get on the way with their troubles. But they've got so many options there. If they want to go a bit more defensive, they'll pull Guthrie out, they'll bring Higgins in there, make it a little bit more rough. I'd expect Ratacalier as well when he's in there, that they really do try and stifle the game and slow it down. Their primary goal from clearances is to stop you getting it out. They want you to bomb it forward into their strength where Stewart is, where Henderson is. That's where they want you to kick it. So they're not trying to give up the short ball. They're looking for you to clear your lines into their strength. So it is interesting because that is the habit that Carlton have. But back to the graph then, as we can see, midfield slightly an advantage there. They are very good. The ruck there, you can see Carlton again, inexperienced. Stanley and I'd say TDK are very similar. Casbolt versus Ratacalier. I think Ratacalier is going to have a huge edge on him because not only is he strong, but he's got a higher vertical leap. But you can see there that the analytical data is really favouring the rucks there. Now, the key forwards, we've already talked about that. Now, the small forward line is really interesting because they're going to have to be really on their game. They're going to have to be really pressured. You can't allow them to control at the back. They build from the back really well. They're looking for the switch there. They're looking for control and they're looking to assess how you're set up, and they plot methodically. It's like a death by 1,000 cuts. General forward line for us, we've actually got a slight advantage on there. And it's going to be really interesting there because all them age and experience that Carlton have got, it's going to be a lot. It's going to come down to Fogarty. A lot's going to come down to JSOS, Betts, Martin's creativity, always, and really put the pressure on. We're going to learn a lot about Carlton. People can talk about Fremantle and Adelaide. These guys are skirts of the finals, really, on the outskirts, on the precipice, where for me, this is a top 8 side. This is the real deal. These are a side that are very composed, controlled footy, slightly sent a message to us, I think Scott did as well, resting Selwood for this game, because I think he doesn't rate Carlton's midfield. He knows what Carlton's midfield is going to do. We know we like that long bomb from the centre, which is playing into their hands. The method to win this game is quite simple. It's structure up, it's get a man into that contest, help them out, help the ball extract, because if they slow it down there, that's what they want. And it's really having options and looking for options and hard running both ways. So real test this for Carlton's system. And we saw last year, which everyone hangs their hat on, small quarter. There's no way in hell Carlton would have held on if that game was a minute longer. The red time stats in that are saying Geelong would have rolled over on us. And this, even though it's at the G, bigger ground, it's if Carlton can utilise that space. You've got to utilise the teams that have success outside of JMHBA are the teams that utilise that extra width at the G. And that's something Carlton are going to have to do. A lot of running. It's going to be a real hard job, but there's always a chance in football. It's going to be a tough game. That's the preview then. Let me know what you think. What are you looking forward to this week? Please, please, please check out the scouting report. A lot of time and effort has gone into that. Link is below in the Blue Abroad website. It's a real good read, if I do say so myself. Until next time, Pom out.